So Mabel and I are Gen Z millennial cuspers, sometimes called Zillennials, and we have a lot of pride about being able to relate to both generations. But recently we've learned that there is a flaw amongst Gen Z that is becoming more and more apparent that we simply cannot relate to.
Yeah, it looks like Gen Z workers have become legitimately intolerable in the workplace.
Can I get more hours? I need money.
Oh, sure. You can come to work tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow I'm busy.
Oh, what about Tuesday?
Tuesday I'm hanging out with my friends.
Excuse me, why are you late?
Oh, funny story. See, I actually did not want to be here today.
Getting real sick and tired of all the accommodations that my Gen Z coworkers need. I swear, every single one of them is like, oh, can I leave work early? I have to go to therapy.
And things have gotten so bad that companies are hiring etiquette managers to teach their Gen Z employees how to dress, email, show up to work on time, even manage their hygiene. Like, what?
Yeah, apparently some managers have to reprimand their Gen Z workers because they didn't shower or change their clothes often enough. Others are bringing their mom or dad to job interviews or leaving food wrappers in the break room, assuming the janitor would just clean it up.
So you can see why these coaches are necessary. We actually spoke to one. Her name is Rosalinda Randall. She charges clients, most of which are really big tech firms, up to $2,500 for 90-minute employee workshops, where she covers everything from how to make eye contact with who you're talking to where to stick your name tag. Apparently it's always on the right, and basically how to be a less insufferable Gen Z employee.
Rosalinda, to start off, to give us an idea of like what you're working with, what are the main complaints that you hear about Gen Z workers?
Well, the top ones are tardiness. It isn't, they could be tardy, but it's the attitude about it more so like, okay, well, I'm here, so let's get started. That actually happened to me recently. And I went, but I still need to end at the same time. And they actually said, well, if you'd stop talking about it, we could get started. Oh, no, you didn't. Like, there's the lack of eye contact, uncomfortable on the phone, and I'm sure you've heard of the Gen Z stare. Small talk. You don't like to waste a lot of time on chit chat. So let's just get to the point.
So it's a lot of like social kind of cues, and that's what it seems like.
Yes, yes. And that's what I focus on. And really across the generations, I think the pandemic, even the people who had the social cues and the social skills kind of lost them because we could, even when we did virtual meetings, we could just like disappear for a moment, pet our cat or scratch ourselves and then come back on.
And we know you can't give us too many tips because you got to pay for your services. So pretend we're your clients and you're giving us advice on presenting yourself in the office, like decorum, following like manners, I guess, in the office. What would be like your best advice for doing that?
All right. If I met with you, I think the blanket statement would be enter and take it all in before you start speaking, pointing out, making requests or demands. Just take it in from everyone. Even if you anticipate, like, oh, yeah, she's old. She's like almost my grandma. She has nothing interesting to say. Perhaps not, but you don't know. The other thing that I heard recently from an inquiry that I've gotten is Gen Zers don't really love a lot of layers of management because one, you can't get to that person, and they like transparency and all of that. Then I would say look for companies that don't have all those multi-levels. That is more of a traditional style of doing business.
So when it comes to like emails, texting, Slack, we've heard there's like a bit of a gap in how Gen Z goes about doing that. So how would you advise us to do that?
To avoid a lot of the acronyms and emojis and things like that. I just advise, especially initially, if you start a job or a new department or a new position, keep it, I want to say casually formal or casually professional at the start. Don't lose your personality necessarily, but let's just keep it there. And then once you get to establish relationships or they learn about your sense of humor, then potentially introduce them. Because not everyone also is familiar with certain emojis. They may be offended by one or two or misinterpret it, follow your boss's way, their style, because that's who you really want to impress. And if you see that you write differently or a lot more casual, they may second guess putting you on this particular client. I don't think they're ready for it, or that's not what they're showing me. So that's another reason to keep it, just match your boss, match the client, match the person.
What is like the weirdest topic that you have to like deal with that you didn't expect? We saw in an article that you have to kind of give advice on hygiene. I didn't realize that that would even be a topic you'd have to worry about at this age.
Yes, and I want to keep going. The pandemic, and there's going to be a time where we stop blaming the pandemic, but I do think it played a big role, especially those never having worked in an office per se, just coming out of college. And now I'm online. Well, my attire, my hygiene was not important. We meet, once a week or once a day just for a moment, as long as I look kind of semi-clean from up to here. And also, I think the expectations were lowered. That, well, you're home. Why are you going to put on makeup? So a lot of things changed, and I think we accepted a lot of more casual, informal things that wouldn't have been accepted in the workplace. And it really depends on the industries. I mean, I'm here near the Silicon Valley and the tech industry, and just California especially. So a lot of people feel that if they dress up a little, that just sort of is almost wrong, but dress according to how your boss dresses. I think a lot of employers are afraid, hesitant to bring up some topics for fear of the sensitivity that Gen Zers tend to have. So that's another one where they walk on eggshells. I had one manager said, I don't want my employee wearing a piercing. How do I tell them? And it's like, well, what's your code of conduct say? What's your policies and procedures manual that they signed say? It says no piercings on the ear, on the face. And I said, well, then you need to enforce it. But she goes, I'm afraid. I don't know how they're going to react. So a lot of employers are afraid of you, Gen Zers.
Wow.
We're interested in like certain topics to avoid discussing at the office. Like you had mentioned that there used to be such a boundary between like personal and work, and now that's a little blurred now.
Yes. Like you don't want to say, oh, my boyfriend and I had the craziest time last night. If you do, some people might be interested, but maybe the people around you may not. So I would be careful when it comes to sex, your causes, political beliefs, obviously, the religion. I don't think they're totally off limits. It's how you present it. And if you bring it up as a topic of conversation, not an imposing viewpoint. There are certain things that are better left unsaid. Borrowing money from employees, from coworkers, your personal woes, financial woes, because it could come back to bite you. A lot of, I do a whole thing on friendships in the workplace as well. And sometimes those end and they have all the dirt on you.
Mabel and I met at work, and now we're
We became
here.
fast friends like immediately and
Yeah.
literally told each other everything and violated everything you said, but
Yeah.
it worked out so far.
Yeah.
So far.
Yeah,
Yeah, so far.
so far.
Well, something else I was wondering about because it's like the hot topic right now, AI, and how our like Gen Z workers would definitely be way more fluent, I assume, than any other generation in the office using AI. What's the issue with AI right now?
I believe the limited that I've talked to employers about this is it's up to the company to learn how to incorporate it because it's here and everyone's using it. Students are using it. I think as a society, we embrace new things, but then we start flushing out like, nah, we don't like the speakerphone when we're in the airplane. No, we don't want you to be taking our picture or looking at your phone when we're having a conversation. So that's how these etiquette rules are developed. It's by society, the majority of us feel becomes annoying. So we put these rules down. The similar thing is going to happen with AI. Or what if your boss says, hey, can you write this up? And you don't have AI handy. It's going to reveal how poorly you write because AI is really good. So those are just a few things that I can see could develop into just dilemmas.
Something else that Gen Z workers complain about is that their jobs don't have like this work-life balance. And that's where employers also need your help to kind of be like, okay, you still have to come into the office, you still have to work even if you want balance. So how do you coach people about that?
I think, wow, if you can achieve work-life balance, teach me. I don't think it's possible the entire year to have work-life balance. I don't believe in it. Things come up. Balance is temporary and it comes in moments and just enjoy them. And that's how I view it.
Well, that takes us to kind of our wrap-up question, because just to ask the big question with all of your expertise, everyone that you've worked with, are you worried about the future of Gen Z workers in the workforce?
No,
Oh,
I'm really not. Every generation has been like, oh gosh, they want that. Every generation has come in with new ideas and new views. And that's how companies grow and change.